Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Daniel James, and as always, if you're new here, welcome. Today, I want to dive straight into what we're going to be talking about, and that is understanding that change takes time. This is something that is not discussed enough in the self-help and improvement world. We think that we're just going to read a book, listen to a podcast, go on a course, hire a coach, and our life's just going to instantly change. That's not how this works. I have just come off a coaching call with a client, and she's 41 years old. And we were sort of discussing that her life has massively changed, and she as a person is showing up as this sort of better version of herself, like this new version of her, and things are amazing. But she was saying that sometimes she reverts back to her old self. And I said, well, yes, like you're 41 now. Let's just say that at 20 years old is when you kind of had this conditioned programming. So for 21 years of your life, you've been showing up as this certain version of yourself. And problems, challenges, and situations have arisen, and you have basically created coping strategies to deal with that. You sort of know how to handle these situations, gets you back in control, and you sort of move on. What's happened now is you've sort of realized this isn't working for me. This is how I kind of want to be. And for the first time in her life, she's taking control. She's basically saying, like, this is me choosing to act and show up and behave in this certain way. And that is ultimately what I try and give my clients, is that control. It gives them a choice. Most people don't have a choice. So once you've got this choice, you can show up differently. But anyway, what we're saying was we're talking about it and realizing that for 21 years, you've been walking down this path. And once you decide to not walk down that path and walk down the path that is overgrown, that has got weeds, thorns, thistles, animals crawling around it, that's the harder path. And just because you know how to now walk down that path and you enjoy that path, sometimes you're going to be hit with an obstacle. And if you don't know how to deal with that obstacle, and if it's the first time you've had that obstacle show up in your life since you've decided to change, you're not going to know how to deal with that. So the default pattern is going to be to show up as that default old version of you, because that person, that version of you, knows how to deal with it. That's normal. That's okay. And this isn't what's spoken about. Because when you go back to that old version of you, you feel like a failure. You feel like a failure because no one tells you that's what's supposed to happen. The art is to become aware that you've gone back to that old version of you, take a second, step back and say, that's interesting. What caused me to go back to that version of myself, that old version of myself? And how would this new version of me choose to respond differently in that situation? So I'm going to say to you, like, are you on this self-development journey? Do you make big strides and then out of nowhere, life throws you a curveball like it always does, like it's always going to do? And then you go back to that old version of you and then you beat yourself up and you think that somehow you've undone your hard work or that you're broken. If you do, I'm telling you, that's part of the journey. That is a learning and teachable moment if you choose to see it as that. Because you can sit there and beat yourself up and say, oh God, I've gone down that path again. Or you can take that step back and say, that's interesting. Why did I go back to that version of me? What did that version of me give me that I needed? And how can I create something similar for this new version of me that then means I can still keep making progress? I can still show up as that best version of myself. I'm not going to get angry. I'm not going to get caught in that negative thought pattern. I'm not going to feel sorry for myself. I'm not going to go to a victim mindset. That's the journey. And it's a continual journey. No one is perfect. I don't come on here to preach. I am not perfect. I'm far from it. But no one is. And because people aren't normalizing the fact that we are perfectly imperfect, when things do go wrong, we think that somehow we've undone all our hard work, that we're a failure, that we're broken. You're not broken. You are not broken. Every single time we go back to that old path, it's a teachable moment. You're learning different things about yourself. Because a lot of these things are unconscious. You are not aware of them. The very first thing that I teach people is awareness. Because without awareness, nothing changes. If these things that are controlling you stay subconscious, if they stay under the surface, if they stay so you're not aware of them, you cannot change them. It's only by bringing something out of the darkness and into the light that you can actually do something with it. So next time you notice yourself acting in a way that isn't great, that resembles that old version of you, don't beat yourself up. Give yourself a bit of grace and ask yourself, why did I default back to this version of me? What do I need to learn? What do I need to let go of? What do I need to cultivate to show up as this new, better version of me next time that situation arises? Pain plus reflection equals progress. Don't allow yourself to sit in the pain. Reflect, learn, ask yourself those difficult questions, learn more about yourself, and that is when you'll make progress. As always, if you've taken any value from today's episode, don't forget to like and share with a friend. Until next time, take it easy.